welcome into the Daily Fix every day right here at noon Central Standard Time. We appreciate you listening to us as hey, a lot to get to, a lot to unpack in the world, sports world, whatever. We do it all right here on the Daily Fix presented by Foolish Club Media. One of the things I want to do is say hello. I'm Ron Hughley, your host of the Daily Fix. Right there, you see in the little box is Steve Serta, who is filling himself in the rightful spot that he belongs. As I say every day, please let a friend or 19 know. If you're listening to us on Twitter, we appreciate you. If you listen to us on YouTube, we appreciate you. Let some folks know. And one of the things I need you to do, please, if you're new, if you're letting people know, please head over to our YouTube channel, Foolish Club Media. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. We are the fastest / slowest growing digital platform on the market today, and we are trying to take steps, and we need that help with you. Please like and subscribe. And remember, if you do not, you're preventing my 3 children from eating. A lot to get to. Won't hold you long. Uh, Maybe the most disrespected superstar for so many reasons. I feel so good about this guy. And I know it's a small sample size, but he deserves a lot of apologies. Sir, you look like you're one who should be given one. Also, we got a chance to see. Yeah, will. We got a chance to see life without Watson, and that's the cornerback Watson for the Chiefs, and we got to see Joshua Williams and Johnson, who got injured, and the hyphenated name fellow who got the interception. I'll be honest, he got that interception, sir. I did not know who that was. Didn't have him when he got that interception to the 49ers.
I forgot about old Chris Roland Wallace.
Yeah, Roland Wallace. My son said, "Dad, who is 30?" I said, "I think it's Donnell Bennett. It's the last 30 I remember." But we'll get to that. But first, I want to start here, as you see, give me my 2 minutes, Steve, on the photo there. Listen, Andy Reid, Andy Heck, those guys over there know exactly what they're doing. They're some of the best in the business. Andy Reid is the best coach, the best offensive mind that we've seen since Bill Walsh, and might be the best coach ever, maybe the best coach of his generation. And he comes from an offensive line background. And Serta, I think the last time we discussed this, we kind of had a conversation on showing BK about this, and you disagreed. And I still am where I am on that, and I am even more steadfast on my belief. And that is, like, I think we really need to see Kingsley. I think we really need to see Kingsley back, and Wanya is getting. I won't even say worse. I think Wanya is just being himself, sort of. And my big issue with him is, look, you came out of camp, Steve, and you all made the decision that Kingsley was the guy. And I don't think, sir, it was just because they drafted him in the second round and, hey, we're going to give it to you. No, I think for whatever reason, if it was he was flat out better than Wanya Morris, if it was they were tied and the tie goes to the guy with the higher ceiling, or if it was just close and it felt like that he would build into it. Clearly, I think there was a reason. And for him to get pulled because one of the best pass rushers in football just dominated him, to me, it didn't sit well with me then, and it doesn't now. And Wanya Morris at this point is just not playing well enough for you to just go ahead and throw away the whole reason why all of mandatory minicamp and OTAs and training camp in the first week of the season, you felt Kingsley was the guy. He is just not playing. He's getting beat. He's getting holds. He's getting penalties. He doesn't have a chance. And to me, sort of, I think Kingsley would probably struggle in a similar vein right now. But I do believe there is an upside to where in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 weeks that Kingsley is is a much better player than he is right now, I don't know that there's that many leaps for Wanya Morris. So for me, I need to see Kingsley in there.
It does feel like Wanya is at his ceiling, which is like a replacement level left tackle. Like he's a
Swing
serviceable
tackle.
player, but he's far from a complete player that is going to give you a down to down consistency. And the reason why Kingsley has the upside is because like the Chiefs came out of training camp saying we think that he does have that, but he's a really young player who has to develop and get used to the NFL speed. I do wonder if at this point it's just about what Patrick Mahomes trusts. And we've seen him play better over the last couple of weeks. Maybe that has to do with the injuries piling up and him finally settling down or whatever. But Mahomes, we've seen him get a little rattled by the pressure that is coming from this offensive line right now. And it just feels like the Chiefs trust Wanya more, even if Kingsley's got the more long-term upside. So I hope it's one of them and they just get it figured out and find a way to try to help if that's what they got to do. But they got to get it figured out because it's a weekly thing that you can't rely on the left tackle now, even when and Jawaan Taylor had a decent game against the Raiders, but Wanya Morris was just bad.
Yeah, you don't have nothing on the other side to just say, oh, he can handle that because he may need help. I just asked you this, Serta, before we move on. How much worse do you think Kingsley would be playing than Wanya Morris? I like legit. That's not rhetorical. Legit wonder how much worse would it be? Because I don't like the short sample size we got with Kingsley in there. It was not much worse than this. It was on par with this. And it wasn't just Max Crosby kicking Wanya Morris's ass. It was others.
Yeah, it was on par, I think, for the most part, outside of that game against the Bengals. Like, but the short time that Kingsley had, he had some good reps. Like, he had some bad moments, he had some up and down play, but then you saw the flashes of why the Chiefs trusted it. It's just, I just feel like that right now they feel more comfortable with the guy who's a second year player as opposed to the really young, raw rookie prospect.
Yeah, obviously they do. I just don't know what is being put out on film that says, boy, we're much more comfortable as opposed to the guy that's got the upside. All right. We got a chance to see life without the Chiefs' number 2 corner. And we talked about it last week, Clint. Losing Watson was going to be a big deal. And this was going to be felt. And we got a chance to get a glimpse. As we know, the trade deadline is November 5th, same day of the election. So make sure you go out and vote. But we talked about it. What is it going to look like? This is the first glimpse we're going to see. And, Steve, there shouldn't be struggles with these wide receivers. Even Jacoby Myers, the one, even whoever the hell else they're rolling out there. And Johnson got hurt and didn't return. Joshua Williams got critical penalties. They caught a touchdown pass on a play in which can somebody have some ball skills and knock the ball down? Like I watched it, Steve, and I'll be honest, I did not come away from the Raiders game against those receivers and what they did. I didn't come away with it thinking, all right, I feel like these guys are going to have enough growth from here to when the games really, really matter that the Chiefs will be fine. And I'm not saying that's not possible. I would hope that Joshua Williams, because he's the key one that can show some growth, but he gets penalties. He is handsy. Everybody knows he's handsy. And like I said, big third down penalty where the Chiefs should have got off the field. It was him grabbing people. And I don't know, man, if they struggled against those receivers, like I find it hard to believe we know coordinators will find ways to get them matched up with corners they want and better receivers down the line. I just didn't come away feeling like, all right, they don't need to make a move. I know it's not always just make a move, and I know that's the knee-jerk reaction of a lot of fans and people, but that second corner position, Serta, I don't feel amazing right now about it with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and Rocky and Jared talked about it on the latest episode of Beach Season. I totally agree with them. I think the Josh Uche trade is more about like the most bang for the Chiefs buck on the trade market, because
Yeah.
you simply just don't see top flight corners get traded very often, and when they do, they come with a huge price tag like L'Jarius Sneed did. And like, it's fine for corners to be a little handsy and get flagged every now and then, as long as they're not giving up plays. The problem with Joshua Williams is that he's getting flagged and giving up big plays. Like, we've seen him look solid in the past, but this season it just hasn't worked so far. Now Najee Johnson's in the concussion protocol. Like, they got to get it figured out and get some more consistency out of these guys. And I know Steve Spagnuolo and that coaching staff is good at figuring this out, but it does feel like it's a legitimate issue right now for the Chiefs defense.
Especially when your team as of now is led by your defense, right? Like, you're a team that's led by your defense. You want to have that shored up. And here's my thing is, one, I don't think you need a top flight corner, as I think you obviously have a top flight corner. I just think you need to have somebody that is a credible number 2 corner, the way Jaylen Watson was. And my issue with Joshua Williams, with Johnson, his size to me, he just looks like a runt out there for some reason. And I know that was kind of mean, but he does. He just looks like he looks like Bronny James on the basketball court. Like, he's just smaller than everybody. But my thing with Joshua Williams is he so many times, Steve, looks lost. Like, he looks like he is the reason coverages get blown from time to time. There was one in the Raiders game where I swear before God he had the flats, and he came backing up with a receiver that was already covered with the safety behind him and left the flats wide open for a first down. So that's my other thing with him. I just think there's a confusion part there. All right. Hey, look out. I do think that I'm not saying they're contenders, but I do definitely think the Pittsburgh Steelers, and hell, they may be contenders. The Pittsburgh Steelers and that game feels a lot different now, the way that we've watched Russell Wilson play the last couple of weeks. Yet last week he was really, really good. I believe had 3 total touchdowns last week against the Jets and beat that good defense. And then this week the Giants have especially defensive line, have a pretty solid defense. And he's 20 for 28, 278, 1 touchdown, did lose a fumble trying to run the ball, but he had a 115 quarterback rating and was under pressure, sacked 4 times. Some of that's on him, hit 8 times. And he made just some big play, big time throws. And I just want to say, I think Russell may be one of the most, if not at the top, most disrespected, superstar players I've ever seen. Because we just all, and when I say we most, and I will include myself, as I eventually got there. But in that little year, 2 years he was in Denver, we just all were just like, he's done. It's like he's washed. It's like he's Deshaun Watson. That's how we felt it was. But the crazy thing is, we watched this guy who was 10 wins in Seattle, no matter who was around him. I know a lot of the Legion of Boom at first, but it was Russ there towards the end, and they were making playoffs, and he didn't have a good offensive line. They didn't have great parts. That defense had taken some steps back. The way that most of us would believe it's Russ and not Nathaniel Hackett is disrespectful as hell to Russell Wilson, that we didn't immediately look at a guy who was on a Hall of Fame path and just all of a sudden stink, and not look at one of the worst offensive coaches and one of the worst head coaches. And then clearly Sean Payton didn't want anything to do with Russell Wilson. And I don't believe Sean Payton gave his best effort to put together an offense and do things that were the best things that Russ does. He would just undress him, didn't have confidence in him, and just didn't want. To me, I'll be honest, I'll say I don't think Sean Payton was really into Russell Wilson succeeding. And to think that he went through those 2 situations and we just automatically thought the guy that was a Hall of Famer up until that point was just done. I think it's disrespectful that we didn't at least just say, well, maybe it's Nathaniel Hackett. I just, that to me is a bit disrespectful.
I mean, I think we all did at the time. Like, we knew Nathaniel Hackett was the worst head coach in the NFL. And I think Sean Payton's one of the most overrated head coaches in the NFL history. Like, the dude has never had success outside of Drew Brees, but we still act like he's Andy Reid out there, just getting the most out of any quarterback he ever coaches, which just simply isn't true. But Russell Wilson was also flat out bad in Denver. Like, he was on bad football teams, sure, but he would weekly, he would just refuse to run the offense that he was in, and he would try to create with his legs and get outside the pocket and let the plays break down and just get sacked because he's not athletic as he used to be. Like, the Steelers are just simply a much better situation with much better coaching, much better all-around team around him. Like, it's just a better situation. Sometimes that's just how it is in football.
Yeah, but sir, do you think the offenses that he was being put in and what he was asked to do fit what he was best at? Because all of a sudden he's with the Steelers and it fits. And we're seeing Russ cook that Russ. Like, they're running offenses that are not really conducive to Russ. They're trying to make him throw the ball in the middle of the field all the time when he's a guy that is much better down the field and outside the numbers. Yeah. So I think
fits that perfectly. The way they run the ball in Pittsburgh, that fits that perfectly. That's what Russell's got to play.
But yeah, but they didn't. But numbnuts, Nathaniel Hackett. No, man, we're gonna run this.
Yeah, because him and Sean Payton was like.
But you're saying I think we knew he sucked, but not a lot of people went to the space of maybe that's why Russell's being so bad. Maybe that's why Russ is being so bad. Not that he's eroded as a player, but he was 33. And now at 35, the last 2 weeks, it's better than anything he put forward. Hi, Mom and Courtney. Shout out to you, Russ.